Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. It's Sunday the 17th of August. It's pretty early where I am in the world, and I see quite a Sunday. It's joggers, dog walkers, all sorts, cars, hustle bustle, people getting up and doing their stuff. But yeah, a long overdue video. Had a real, a good milestone. Cheesy, isn't it? But Friday Finn finally went in of his operation at Great Ormond Street, and all was good. So I think in the last, if you've been watching some of these prior videos, I spoke about the fact that he needed a replacement to his battery for his epilepsy machine. So he has an implant just under the skin, and it helps control, reduce, mitigate the impact of seizures. So he hasn't, touched wood, he hasn't had a daytime seizure in a long time. Hopefully you can hear me with this passing traffic, we'll see. He'll tend to have them on an evening. So probably like a handful of nights. So what this thing does, sits under his skin, and it basically looks out for the signs of a seizure. So typically, increase in body temperature, heart rate, etc., and then this thing will basically push a bit of power through the vagus nerve, which goes up into the brain with the view to trying to basically ideally stop the seizure, but more often than not it's a case of reducing it, making it a bit better. So this thing's been in 4 or 5 years, and we're now at the place even where the battery was starting to run out. So unhelpfully it's done in quarters, so it's a 0 to 25, it's a 26 to 50, etc, up to 100%. So we never knew exactly where it was, albeit in recent weeks and months it's been in 0 to 25%. So we knew we needed to go back in, and we waited. I think I did a video to say we're on the list. It feels like a few months ago, but probably about 3 weeks ago, maybe slightly longer, they popped up and said, look, got an opening, come along on the Friday, and we'll get it done. So that's exactly what's happened. He's back home now. So relatively low risk in terms of the surgery itself. It's literally just an incision over way previously obviously had the implant put in. They go in, they change the battery, sew up, and then job done. But I'm probably significantly simplifying it, because the amount of pre-meets and paperwork and ass covering that we did even before the day was considerable. And on the day we met 2 anaesthetists, 2 surgeons, Nikki, who's our kind of ongoing subject matter expert from the epilepsy clinic, just making sure I'm not going to get run over, nurses, all sorts. So it was a big old team, and we had some a few lessons learned from the last time it was done. So it's been under general anaesthetic I think twice now. One for an operation on his hand, and then the other one was originally getting this device put in. So he doesn't I don't think everyone reacts well to general anaesthetics and all of that, but he resisted a little bit. We did some like pre-meds just to try and calm him, but even that wasn't straightforward to get down. He was very very stressed, but that kind of made him a bit calmer, which made the second medicine, which pretty much zonked him out, made that a bit more easy to administer. And then probably 45 minutes later, it's all at Great Ormond Street. Amazing, absolutely amazing. They come to the room, And yeah, you go in the biggest lift that you've ever seen, with obviously with the hospital bed, down to a floor which is just full of operating theatres. You go in like the ante room, like the a side room to where the surgery is done. More consent, more signing, going through all the risks, you know, however, you know, low probability they are. There's lots of that stuff to be done. And yeah, you kind of say that just prior to that they do the administer the gas, so you see that happening. A lot of questions from the, you know, various professionals, and I guess it's only the right thing to do. I mean, Finn's 17, and then we're almost, you know, initially talking to him, obviously prior to him being, you know, knocked out, explaining stuff, and we're just like, look, he doesn't understand anything, and kind of reiterating that's why we're going through this, you know, these deputyships with the courts, so we can have this ongoing ability to make decisions on his behalf. So anyway, once we've gone through that, kiss goodbyes, and then we went upstairs. He obviously went into the joining room for the surgery. They said they'd call us in an hour. I'm not exaggerating, I think we waited 4 hours. Not because there was an issue with the procedure. I think it took about an hour and a bit. It was more the time he took to come round. So we travelled up to London the night before because we needed to be there for 7 a.m. on Friday. So we went up Thursday, thinking, you know, it's not a million miles, but it is a bit of a trek from where we are, and we thought we'd just kind of de-stress. But, you know, you find a hotel, it's maybe the lesser of two evils, but it's a bit of an alien environment for him, so he didn't sleep too well. So I think that plus the anaesthetics and all that meant it took a while to come down. But yeah, a few hours later they called us, and we went, it was like a floor just below the ward that we were on, and it was incredible. Just an open plan floor full of, like, just got to think of the recovery suite, recovery room, probably the biggest room I've ever seen in the hospital, open planned, just full of people that are just coming out of, you know, children coming out of their operations, and you know, being woken up, family members, you know, guardians, whoever, chatting to them, making sure they're okay, and then eventually, you know, getting them back to the room. So we were there for a while, and when we turned up he was still well out for the count, and until you're, you know, wriggling your toes and there's the right kind of, I think, squeezing the hand, right kind of movement in the eyes, they don't let you go back to the ward. So we were there for quite some time. He did look very pale, and he had this machine on around him to keep him warm. This kind of, I don't know, this plastic, very looked like thin plastic stuff, almost like cling film thickness. It must have been quite sturdy around him, which was pumped with air, this machine, and was you know, keeping his temperature up. He didn't look great, but you know, you're in safe hands. So yeah, eventually he kind of stirred a bit, got back to the room, and yeah, a few hours there. Yeah, a few doctors, or moreover nurses came along. Nikki came along and then switched on the device, so when the battery goes back in, they don't automatically put the device back on. Obviously want to monitor it in a bit more of an isolated place. So they did that back in she did that back in the room, and then slowly increased the power on this thing, just to make sure that he was you know, coping with it, and it was doing exactly what it should do. I've got a bit of a biggish road to cross, so I'm just going to pause here. Hello there, I'm Ed, father to Finn, who has significant special needs. This channel covers our journey and provides a parent's perspective on caring for someone with disabilities. Most viewers unfortunately aren't yet subscribed, so please help us by subbing and be part of what happens next. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. So yeah, so the device came back on, and then it was just a bit of a waiting game really for Finn to get, you know, fluids, eat a bit, do all the right things, so we could eventually get discharged from the ward. And I don't think it was an overnight ward, so we would have had to have gone to another ward. And speaking openly, I mean, people that have stayed in hospitals, it's not the best place sometimes to, unless you obviously really need attention and close monitoring. It's not good for getting a good night's sleep. So yeah, we kind of did the great escape, so to speak. Fortunately, kind of woke up a bit, started playing on the old Nintendo handheld, which I think woke him up a little bit, and then before we knew it, he was kind of in better spirits, and we left. A bit of a trek back in the car, good old Friday evening traffic out of London, but yeah, incredible in terms of the hospital, and always a stressful, I think, emotional thing, like for anyone, your family or friends going in for that, even where it's low risk, just the whole environment, like I say, the ass covering as well, going through some of the risks and things, and seeing your loved one particularly stressed and crying and all the rest of it isn't great. But on a plus, we're through it, and I think we're now just trying to being at home, just blank it out. So my wife's a teacher, works for the local authority, so she's mirroring like school holidays, so which in the UK was still well in flow. She's got a few more weeks off, so that's perfect for them. So both of them are off. I'm back. We just had Friday off, so I'm back tomorrow. But yeah, still working. Fortunately, working from home. Try and work from home this week just to stay by, so the wife can have a little bit of respite herself. She needs to have a shower or whatever. We're kind of just closely monitoring him. So yeah, that was all good. Hopefully the device itself has really helped us out. It's really reduced the amount of seizures that Finn's had. It's been quite incredible, and long may that last. And for the they've always tweaked the settings on the device, so I'm sure it was on a bit more in the day, and doesn't, like I say, hasn't had a daytime seizure for ages. So hopefully by some of those settings being enhanced over time, it will mean that this battery will last a bit longer, and obviously by then it'll be way into adulthood. It'll be 18 next year, so we won't be going to Great Ormond Street. There'll be another hospitals, not too many in the country, but we've got another one, Romford Way in Essex, I believe, specialise in this stuff. So yeah, I'm going to cross another road, and then we'll talk about what else has been going on. Right, I'm now in the safety of the park. So safety of the park, the only thing that could be danger here is dog turds, so I want to be looking down as much as I am at the camera. Hey ho. So yeah, what other stuff's been going on? Again, I can't remember if I touched on this on one of the last videos, but we've now submitted one of the 2 deputyships for Finn in preparation for him turning 18 next year, as I said. So the one we've submitted is the financial, so not the financial, my gosh, it's too early, it's the healthcare deputyship, which if successful will mean that we can continue as his parents to make continued decisions on his healthcare, such as we're talking about this like surgery. We've had to make a few decisions in terms of the the anaesthetics, the the recovery, a lot of the obviously the consent and all the rest of it. So without that, it kind of, the law pushes the decision making firmly back to the professionals, which arguably in their individual fields makes sense. But when you're talking about a collective, and I listed off earlier in this video how many professionals are involved, and being honest, I mean, they're professionals in what they do, but they don't know our son in terms of his likes, his dislikes, what stresses him, the challenges, his history, and all of that. In my opinion, it's craziness, but we've got to go through it, and hopefully we'll come out the right side and get the approval. But it's from chatting with our lawyers and just doing some research on it, it's not a given, because of the that goes to these courts, and because the courts think, the professionals should know what they're doing. Why does the parent need it? It's a bit crazy, but we'll see. There's a bit of a middle ground. So some people that have had their applications turned down, there's almost like a stipulation. So in the court's response, they come back and they basically say, look, it's still with the professionals. However, those professionals must always take input from the from the parents, from the guardian. So they have to have to engage us, but it still, I think, leaves things a bit open as to, overriding decisions, and then the rest of it. So we'll see. So there's that one. Take a few months, I think, to come back. Nothing's bloody quick, and I'll do a separate video on. I think I've done a video covering high level what it's about, but now we're further progressed, in terms of the costs and the practicalities, some of the learns. It's an expensive thing to go through, and I like to think I'm reasonably, educated. And like I say, my wife works in education, or authority, which kind of some of that feeds into this stuff by way of evidence. And it's still, even for us, it's been quite a challenge. Solicitors have been really, really good. In terms of the probate, it's just pricey, and I think that's linked to my work. We call on lawyers, and it's just not cheap. So just doesn't feel quite right, really, that this money could be spent on other stuff. But for me, and for my wife, it has to be spent on this, and we've got to double up the cost basically for the next application, which will be the financial one. That one's more likely to, generally the approval rates for that is far higher, on the basis that folks should be able to tell very quickly that Finn, he doesn't have any understanding of financials. If he was opening a bank account, money going in and out, it's completely over his head. There's no understanding of money, beyond looking at the odd physical coins and all the rest of it, the repercussions, what it means, like savings, mortgages, loans, payments in shop, jobs coming in, salaries, all the rest of it. It's just, it's completely alien to him. So I think that's more likely going to happen. And when he was born, I'll kind of recap on something I said in another video. The government were handing out, contributions to newborns. So it was, I can't remember what it was. It was something like, maybe £1,000 when they were born, and if you invested a little bit or you saved some money, I think age 4 or 5, it was an extra like £500. So we continued to do that, not really knowing, didn't have bloody crystal balls, knowing what the future would hold. So off the back of that, we've got this money. But typically what happens is that when the child becomes an adult, they turn 18, ordinarily they'd open a bank account, and then this money would transfer over. So it's not our money, it's Finn's money. But because he can't open a bank account, we have to go through this deputyship process so that we can open one on his behalf, and then the money can be transferred over. So we've got to go through another few K's worth of costs to do that. And even when the money's transferred over, I suppose this is a right thing, but it's the usual level of a bit of bureaucracy. We've got to do statement and accounts of that money, evidencing that wherever that money is spent, is debited, that it's for his his benefit, which is fine. It's just another thing, and I think that will probably come at a cost as well. I think nothing seems to be bloody free, but we've got some good ideas, and mainly in terms of home adaptions, as he gets even bigger. It's the stuff that will help us around the house. So we've got our eyes on a few, on the house and on the outside of the house as well. So we'll see how we do. So there's that. So we're going to start on the financial deputyship from September. Just having a few weeks off, knowing this operation as well. Week and a half off, and then we'll be back at it with the solicitors. So if anyone's going for a similar thing and they want to get some advice or help, then I'm from a parent's perspective. I'm not a professional. I'm certainly not like a lawyer. I don't carry that level of intelligence, but I do. I've got some recommendations in terms of companies and firms and people. So if you do need something, leave me a comment, or I'm on Instagram as well, same thing, Special Spectrum. So drop me a message and I can share people's details if it helps. So it's very UK centric process and more relevant for UK folk, unfortunately. So I know a few of you are overseas, so I think it's one of those things where this will be a bit more UK process. But equally, it'd be interesting to know if anyone is abroad, You know, they got a similar. I know in the States there's in the US there's a process which seems, I don't know if it's similar in terms of the individual steps, but the objective of it, i.e. to, you know, be able to make decisions for your child, I think that's still the same, but we'll see. That's that final thing to say. We had a bit of had a few days off, a couple of a week before the operation, in fact, and we went up to Scotland, had a good time there, stayed on the back of a farm, and then one of the days I caught up with a guy, Gordon, that I've known for a few years, but mainly like online and through, you know, online chats and all the rest of it, as opposed to, you know, meeting in person. But he is, for the second year now, he's doing a gaming charity 24-hour challenge, and all the proceeds will go to fantastic Glasgow Children's Hospital charity up in Scotland. So I'm going to get involved in that. That's in a couple of months' time. So close to the time, I'll probably whack a link in case anyone wants to know more about the charity and what they do. And if anyone wanted to donate, then that would be amazing. But equally, yeah, I know people that purse strings and wallets are tight. But yeah, I'll share some of that stuff. At the very least, it'd be good just to kind of spread awareness of the charity and some of the amazing work that they do. It's almost, to me, it's a bit like a Great Ormond Street, but up in Scotland. Some superheroes in those hospitals. So that's it. I'll try and once hopefully Finn will recover a bit more over the coming days and weeks, and then hopefully you'll see a few more videos from me. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, there's quite a few people noting in terms of views, not individuals, but I can see the views up. The views are higher than the subscribers, which even in my simple noggins makes me realise there's quite a few people that aren't yet subscribed, albeit are watching the videos. So yeah, if you can subscribe, chuck us a like. I'm not getting anything in terms of monetary value from it. The main benefit will be through that, I think YouTube and its infinite AI wisdom will hopefully start to push out these types of videos to people that may benefit from it, and just gives a bit of visibility to the channel. So yeah, that's the little plug at the end. All right, I'm going to head back home on this nice Sunday morning. Have a good one, whatever you're up to, and yeah, catch you soon. Cheers.